The following videos are a tutorial to show how to make a complex combination lock in the Sandbox Game Maker. The lock built requires a 4-digit pin, with each digit having 4 options available. This can easily be scaled up or down, or customized with minimal modifications, depending on the needs of your game. Keep watching if you'd like to know more. Okay then, so here we are in the VoxEdit asset maker. We are going to make a really simple number plate asset that makes our job easier later. We're actually going to make 4 of them, but I'll show you one here. So we got a 32 pixel wide block, which is 1 block in the sandbox. We don't want it to be 32. We actually only want it to be 1 pixel wide. So now we're basically looking at a slice of a block. That's what we're looking for. Next up, if you go to the paint bucket and this little triple Tetris block tool, pick a color from the palette on the right and click. It'll fill in the blocks. That's what we want, 1 pixel wide. So you can put pretty much anything you want on this plate. It could be numbers, letters, symbols. In this case, I'm going to go with a dice pip, which is like the little dots you see on a dice when you roll it. So what we're going to do is basically carve out a hole in the very middle of this. So I'm going to turn on the 2 mirror tools up here. And we're going to click a nice vibrant color. And first things first, actually we'll probably just recolor, why not? You can choose the paint mode here, and we'll pick the brain fart here, pencil tool. So now if we click, the mirror tool makes it so that anywhere I click will do it in all 4 quadrants. Just saves a bit of time. So that actually worked out really well. We are going to click here, 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 and here, and now we have a single glowing dot in the center of our plate. That's all we're after here. So go ahead and save this. Pick whatever symbol or letter you're happy with. We'll move over to the editor next. Okay, here we are in the VoxEdit animator. The first thing we're going to do is at the top left here, where it says root and the triangle symbol, click the triple dots and create a child node. A node is basically a container that contains an asset you made, and it's like a unit of animation. If you wanted to animate 3 things separately, you would make 3 nodes. But this is going to be simple. We just have the one. You got to fill the node with something. That something's going to be the plate that we made in the last episode. Or, sorry, the last clip, rather. So if you go over to the right side, next to the library button, there's this triple line. We call it the burger. If you click on that, go to Import VXM, and navigate to where you saved your file. I went ahead and made all 6 of the tiles. I'm only going to use 4 of them, but I made 6. So double click on the one that you want to do and click open. You'll now notice it's in your pane. You can take anything in this pane and drag it to any node on the left, as I'm doing now. Drag and drop, and it will pop into the coordinate system for your animator. One thing I forgot to mention when we were making this tile is the coordinate system it has. If we click this pen on the right side, you can edit any part in your tree. And that will let you modify things in case you messed something up. So now we're back in the modeler editor rather. If you click second from the bottom on the left, you'll get this coordinate system appearing. This thing by default would have been over here. I went ahead and moved it off camera, but basically you want this thing to be positioned almost in the dead center of your part. If you hover over any of the arrows, it'll tell you that's like width, height, and depth. So height should be 0 in this case. 16 is about right because that's half of 32, so in the center on this dimension. This one is technically at the edge at the 1, so we're actually going to make that, why not, 0.5. Doesn't really matter in this case too much. Once you've done that, just go ahead and pop your way out. And this will update in real time, which is very helpful for this. So we are going to make 2 animations for this, 2 animation states, an off state and an on state. Not going to be very fancy. It's just going to move this thing between 2 different positions at will. That will make more sense when we do the game making in a second here. So at the very bottom, I've renamed the base animation to off. It usually comes as idle. You can just click the dots down here and say rename the animation. But basically we want to have an off and an on. And the way that's going to work is, this is a timeline at the very bottom, and this arrow is basically where it is on the timeline. You can make animations that last many, many seconds. For ours, we just need a tiny reoccurring loop of this thing standing still in one spot. So if you drag this yellow thing forward a few clicks, like here, it doesn't really matter. So when essentially you're saying at this point in time, I want the object to be at a certain location. If we were to drag this thing up 2 pixels, like 2 on the scale, it would, between this, half second period or a quarter second, would move up 2 pixels. We actually want it to stay still. We just want to loop it staying in one spot. Very simple. All you got to do is click on any of these arrows, and it will, you notice the little red bar on the bottom here, populated. That's a good thing. So if we click the play button on this, you'll notice nothing happens, and that's exactly what we want. If this thing's wiggling around, you probably did something wrong. Well, we'll pause that. So that's going to be our off state. The off state is it is on the origin, and it is staying still. We want a second state, an on state. So what you're going to do is go down to where your off is in the bottom right. Duplicate the animation, why not? And we're going to call this one on. So on is going to be very similar to off, but we're actually going to move it this time. So first off, delete the keyframes using the little dots here. That gets rid of the bar that we did. We don't want it doing the same thing. So this time with the yellow arrow here at the furthest left it'll go, hanging over the 0 seconds, we want to move the object. So click on it to show its crosshair, hold the shift key and grab this blue arrow, and we're going to squeak this thing forward about 18 pixels. So just drag that until it's around 18, plus or minus a couple. 16 and less is a no-no here, you'll see why. But 18 I find should work fine. So now we've moved it forward 18 pixels. And just like before, we're going to drag this arrow forward. We're going to just click on it like that to populate it. And once again, run the loop. This thing is 18 pixels forward from before, but is staying in one spot. That's exactly what we want. Okay, so now that we've done that, we're done. So the last thing you can do is you export it to the Sandbox website so that you can use this thing in your testing. The way you do that is you go up to export in the file menu, go to export to marketplace, choose a default animation, and just click a picture. Nobody's going to see this because it has to be approved first. It's just for your use. Click that and click export. It will open up a website browser. Follow the prompts, they're very straightforward, and then that will be available to you in the Game Maker. You're going to repeat this process for each unique tile that you have. If you're doing a 4-digit combination lock, like you're doing here, you're going to do this 4 times with a number 2 tile, a 3 tile, and a 4. I'm not going to show that here to save some time. I'll see you again in the Game Maker. Okay, here we are in the Sandbox Game Maker. Just wanted to show why we just did what we did. So I rigged up a simple system here. You'll notice a number 2 tile, like we just made here. And there's a simple lever that I have to turn it on and off. So the way this works is it's basically just a door that listens to that lever. And every time it flicks states, it switches between the on and off states that we created. Now let me show you what this looks like in the Game Maker. You can see that it's kind of like recessed and sitting back a little bit, just chilling, doing its thing. As soon as you hit this lever down, it pops out. As soon as you hit it up again, pops shut. Now, if you were to hide this in front of a block, or sorry, rather inside of a block, and do it again, from the outside looking in, nothing's that special, and then as soon as you hit it, it pops out. That's why we actually did the 18 pixels forward thing. Actually, from what I can see here, we could have done 17 and it would have looked even better, but that's why we did what we did. This concept is what we're going to build the combo lock off of in the videos that follow.